Have you ever wondered how professional editors get all of their shots and commercials to flow perfectly? There is a secret to it, and it's about frame by frame precision. In this video, you are going to watch me give an Unsplice student named Gregor feedback on this commercial that he made. And the level of editing that you'll see from Gregor's editing in the end, you could easily charge £350 to £400 per day as a freelance video editor for commercials. By the way, my name is Shiny. I'm an Emmy-nominated documentary and commercial editor who spent the last 15 years working with clients like Vice, BBC and Ogilvy, and it's my goal to help you overcome randomly editing from the gut and consistently craft engaging edits using high-level storytelling tactics that you can charge £300 to £500 per day for. At the end of this feedback, you're going to see version 2 of the commercial, so you can see all of those changes implemented and how much of a difference those changes made. If you'd like feedback on your editing, then just head to unsplice.com/pro. All right, let's take a look at Gregor's edit. Thanks so much for this submission, Gregor. Let's take a look. Nice. Unsplice kitchen, I like that. This is great. What an awesome first version. I love the pace of this. This has gone away from what everyone else is doing. Everyone's gone for high action, high energy, cooking in the kitchen, and this is much more elegant. It's classy. It's it feels less more about a kitchen to me, but more about a channel. And maybe Unsplice Kitchen is the name of a channel where you can watch incredible chefs make these beautiful dishes. A YouTube channel. That's what it feels like to me, anyway. I love this. Let's watch this again. Great opening. The music cutting is perfect. You've got the which leads us to something. So immediately I'm like, okay, what's coming? You feel something's coming, and you want to see what the payoff of the music is. I mean, it's 2 seconds, right? But actually, it sets a great precedent. This music track is also lovely. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's really, it's high. What's the word? Premium. That's the word I was looking for. Premium, and it's great. The chopping, the timing of the chopping and the sound effect as well to the music is just perfect. Chef's kiss. And the way you've taken that butter, cutting down, all of those 3 shots together are dreamy. You've got the atmosphere here, and that's followed by the eye trace. Your eye is focused in the middle. It's great. And then the timing of this, I noticed that the shot comes in just before the drop, which is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So you're cutting on the action. The action hits with the music beat rather than what most people would do, which is change the shot when the music beat hits. No, this smooth flow comes from the action falling on the music beat. And you've nailed it there. And I love this, the butter melting, and you've got this bit of the music where it's the tremor, and the tremor itself creates this feeling of, oh, something's happening, we're moving towards something, and you kind of want to get to the end of that. I doubt anybody switches off in the middle of a, because they want to know what's coming next. And then if the payoff isn't good enough, then they're going to switch off. But here we've got the butter kind of, you're watching melting, like, ooh, this is a beautiful process. And so far they kind of fall in line with the process of cooking. Albeit the salmon is cooking at the beginning, but it's a really nice atmospheric setup. Chopping, butter melting, and then you assume something's going to get cooked. And it does. Hey, that's perfect flow there. Well, that's more of like a more narrative. The flow, however, between the previous shot and this shot isn't perfect. And where the trouble is, because you've got this really nice movement of the butter melting and then the stuff is already moving in the pan. I think it might just be color. We've gone from, you know, the color of this pan that the butter is melting in is the same color as the pan here. And I think if you just threw a grade on this shot so that it matches this a bit better, it's a bit brighter, that's going to go a long way to helping those two shots melt together. And if there's a way to reposition the butter, I love the eye trace here. However, your eye is immediately drawn to this bottom right corner of the butter. That's where the action is happening. And your eye is drawn to action first. Whatever's moving on the screen, your eye goes to immediately. So now our eye is in the top right, and then this shot, we should be in the middle. I don't know if you could flip that. Like, can you flip that shot and it would work as well? So it would be, you'd flip it vertically and horizontally 180 so that the butter is then in the bottom left corner. Would that work as well? Because then the eye trace might work better with this shot. If not, try zooming in ever so slightly, maximum 120%. Otherwise, you start to see artifacts and pixelation, and see if you can reframe it in a way that it matches the flow a bit better. That's all it is. It's small, and there's a way that you can get those two shots to work together. That's great. Love that. You know exactly what you're doing there with the cutting on action. I think what might be nice to help with that transition is to see a little more, just a couple more frames here of this food leaving the pan. So we go up, we kind of barely see it coming out, like have it leave. 2 frames, 1, 2, maybe 3, and then cut here. And the way that the beans fall in time with the music is perfection. And it kind of feels like, even though the flow isn't perfect between these two shots here and here, you know, it's a completely different subject, completely different meal, the eye trace is different, there's no match in action, there's no match in shape. You got a little bit of a match in shape actually with the top of the pan there, the oval shape in the top of the pan, and the shape of the dough is also an oval. That helps connect those two shots most, and the color palette, like the grade, could be the same kitchen, which is great. But there's some work to be done here, and I wonder if this shot is a better match to follow on from this, because it's all so close that this shape of the pan, the top of the pan, this oval shape, ellipse shape of the top of the pan, is better matched here, like around about here, where you can see the whole shape of the... And then you go into this, but then it doesn't flow narratively. Okay, you know what? I think we can make this work. Is there a way that you can cut out of this shot and still see the full ellipse? Much like, you know, here you can kind of see the full ellipse of the top of the lid. And now it's gone. Could we match? Could we cut earlier from the beans so that we can see the full ellipse? And I like how you've matched the camera move here, which goes this way. And that makes it feel really natural. Yeah, I also think a grade would help those. Just a little tweak. I think bring this one closer to the dough shot. I'm convinced this could be a bit smoother. However, I don't dislike it. I think it's really, really good and really slick. It almost feels like everything that's come before this is like one chapter, and this is a new chapter. We're starting with a brand new piece of ingredient, fresh dough, and I don't mind that at all because the timing with the music is perfect. Yeah, because you've got this. And I think timing the shots a bit better here with the music. Yeah, this particular shot here, bring it in a couple of frames later. So it comes on the doo, 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 and I think it'll give that movement. Whenever you cut on music, it brings attention to something and it gives it more energy. And with this, I think it's good to show energy because there's energy being pushed into that dough. There's effort being pushed into that dough. And so if you cut on that, it gives that little moment a little bit more energy. And I think that's going to help that's going to help with the flow. The other thing is this has been slowed down, and you can see if I skip through frame by frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, every now and again you get this jump. Oh, there's a pause, then a jump. Look at that. Going back and forth. Weird artifacts. So whatever you can do to stop that. I don't know if you've sped it up or gone faster. Looks like you've slowed it down and then used frame blending or optical flow. Looks really artificial, that's all. That is a detractor. Now I can understand why you've done it, because you wanted to fit the timing to fit perfectly with the music and the timing you allocated to that shot. So workarounds. I know there's more footage in this shot, so there's no need to slow it down from my understanding. I'd love to hear your perspective. And the timing of that egg drop, by the way, your sound design is fantastic. And with the drop, the egg drop, I would cut closer to the action, because ideally you want to be cutting on the action, but we still need some context of the egg dropping. And do you know what? I think it's the sound effect that's giving the illusion of it dropping sooner, but actually it drops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames after 8 frames, which is not a lot. So bring your sound effect a little bit earlier, probably about 3 frames. I think it's a little bit off. And it will also create this illusion. Yeah, it sounds like 1 frame off from the drop of the music, that music note. It sounds like it's 1 frame too late. So bring it earlier, and then bring the sound effect forward 2 frames, and that is hopefully going to sync better with the music. And yeah, it's definitely delayed the drop sound effect and the image aren't synced. So there's causing a bit of confusion there. Hopefully once they're matched, this will feel a lot smoother, because 8 frames seems, so that seems right actually, but I was being thrown off by the sound effect timing. And then I'm looking at this. And I'm wondering, what's the connection between the dough and the egg drop? I can't see it. There's a shape, kind of. You've got an ellipse and a circle, and they're not quite perfect. Now, if you had this shot and then that, I think that would work better. So it might again work in your favor to swap these two shots, possibly. Might not work from a narrative perspective. Try it out. That's the kind of thing I'd try on the timeline and see. Because I'm not convinced of the link between the mayo and this one. But let's try this one and this one. Let's go back and forth between them. Yeah, I think that should work. Because the framing is a lot similar. It's a lot more similar. And if this could be reframed or retimed to cut out while the dough is in the middle, like here, it's going to be even closer to this. Cool. Or alternatively, find a different shot. It's nice, but we go for egg and then we're going somewhere else completely. And you kind of have this story following through all through the beginning, and then the dough represents almost like a new chapter, new recipe, and then the egg feels a little random. This I love. Spooning over there, and then trying a bit, and then spoon here, and that section, chef's kiss. So I think, see if you can find something else. I challenge you to find a better shot to go here than the egg. Something that feels a little bit further down the line in terms of the narrative of cooking. Something going in the pan, perhaps. Maybe that would work if you've got a round pan. Maybe that would go well with the roundness of the dough. Depends if you have this shot first, or this shot, or this shot that you're coming from. Possibly a wider shot of a pan. Another great thing that I love about your edit is the variation you have in close and wide. And this is inspired. There's a little bit, work on your sound mixing here. Get it to sound like it's one long piece of sound from this shot and the next shot. You've got it sounds like there's a random piece of sound coming in, but make that all sound like one shot. There's an echo. There's an echo in the stirring. It sounds like you might have duplicated the clip. And those two shots are perfect. And I think you can hold, because this is the shot before last, the penultimate shot. You have this music and this style and this pacing, and all the shots are kind of similar in length throughout, and that's the perfect opportunity to just hold on the shot, hold on the pizza a little bit longer, because what you've done is you've set expectations of the duration of the shot, and you want to set expectations and then break them, because then it keeps the edit interesting and it gives the audience this feeling of, oh, what's coming next, something's changed, and it keeps it interesting. And so changing the duration of this shot by making it longer, it builds tension, unlike if you're watching a feature film, the tension will be held on, you'd expect it to cut and it doesn't cut and it doesn't cut and you're going, oh, something's going to happen. Whether something happens or not doesn't matter. There's tension there because you expect to cut away and you don't. The same thing is applicable here. You set this expectation of this is the duration of the shot, this is the pace, and then you hold a shot. And it's kind of like, oh, I expected this shot to change and it didn't. Something's happened. I'm interested. I want to know what's next. And then you get the boom, payoff. Payoff. I would cut this. So hold this shot for the reasons I said, and then this shot come in a bit later. There's a bit too many frames where nothing happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-ish. It's like half a second. It's too long. Unless you had the text fade, then something is happening. But right now, nothing is happening. And half a second is quite long for that. So those are some suggestions. And if you can, although this is an assignment for purely flow, shot flow, I'm going to give you some feedback on this end bit of music. Feel free to use it if you want to, because of course you are building a portfolio piece and you want this to be as good as possible. But if you don't want to, I totally understand. And that is about creating a bit of payoff. We've got to the end and the music just kind of fades out and it feels a little bit, I was expecting some kind of payoff, So give the audience the payoff. They've been holding out with you till the end. You've been teasing them, promising them something, a finished dish. And here we have a finished dish, finally. So switch up the music to give that sense, that payoff. So typically a music track, the end of a music track will have that payoff. And I'm guessing that this piece of music track ends something like do 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 do, bing, something like that. Anyway. Do, 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 do. Probably, that's probably how it ends. That's kind of the key part that you're looking for. If it isn't at the end of that piece of music that you're working with, you probably find it somewhere in there, and you might find it just before the bridge of the piece of music, where the bridge is the bit where everything goes quiet or it switches up, and see if you can take it from there and then put it there at the end. Play around, and if you want to, if you're unsure, come join one of the sessions with this in your arsenal and the project open, and we can work on it together, and I can help you time the music track perfectly and find the exact bit of the music track that you want to give that payoff. Now let's take a look at version 2, and we can see in Gregor's version 2 how small changes, frame, 3 frame, 2 frame, 1 frame changes can make a world of difference to how the whole commercial flows. I'd love to help you with your editing, so if you'd like some feedback on your edits, head to unsplice.com/pro. All of the assets are sourced within the Unsplice Pro community. It's part of the flow module, which is all about getting your shots to flow perfectly from one to the other. Essential skill when you're cutting commercials or anything that's fast-paced like trailers, and especially social media.